back to Say It Sister with Laura and Carly. Is this episode 4?
It is. I can't believe we've already done 4. I love it. It's been so fun.
We're having a lot of fun. I know a lot of podcasts have like a pretty strict theme, and our podcasts have been all over the place. Half of them are videos, half of them are just audio. And, you know, our first episode we talked about real estate. Our second episode we just told funny stories. Our third episode was like a really serious talk with our dad. Yeah. We just wanted to kind of introduce the podcast, I guess, and make it clear that that's our goal. We want the conversations to be all over the place. If there's topics that you want us to talk about, definitely let us know.
Yes, please.
But overall, we just want it to feel like chatting with friends.
Yeah, we've totally found that during quarantine and COVID, it's been so hard to not be able to get together with our friends. So we wish that all of them would do podcasts and kind of just chat to themselves or chat with their other friends. So it just feels more like we're together. So hopefully someone is gaining a little bit of happiness from us just rambling on.
So today's podcast, we're going to be talking about travel stories.
Yeah.
This podcast is also going to be in video form up on my YouTube channel, Laura the Explorer. And that channel was really created as a travel channel for myself. I traveled for like almost 2 years consistently. I've lived in Denmark and France and Canada and have done a lot of traveling, literally, I don't know, all over North America and Europe. Yeah, that's what I love. So I definitely have tons of stories. The last YouTube video that I actually posted was my scariest travel story.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So maybe we can talk a tiny bit about that today, but we've done a little bit of traveling together as well. So we have stories together and you have your own travel stories. So this is going to be a fun podcast.
Yeah, we probably also have different interpretations of our travel we did together. Because you at that point were like, you had done a solo travel like trip and you had been to like 20 countries, and I was just like, hey, like I've only been to like Florida and like the States, like other areas in the States. So yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah. So do you want to start with that first, our Europe trip?
Sure.
Yeah, so I had been living in Denmark for 6 months at this point, and Carly traveled to Barcelona.
Yes,
and
that's where I met.
Yeah, so we met in Barcelona. You traveled there alone, which I think was a really big deal for you to take a cross-Atlantic.
Not gonna lie, I like hugged mom and dad goodbye, and then going through like security and stuff, I was like, if they say anything to me, like I'm gonna cry. I'm just gonna burst into tears. I was so stressed out. I had so much anxiety.
Oh my gosh.
And then it was kind of an overnight. You were like, it's cheaper, just do the overnight. You can sleep on the flight. Like obviously I didn't sleep, but I just like put on that like eye mask and was just like, don't cry, like we're gonna get there, like it's gonna be fine. Which sounds so dramatic, but I'm just that person who like overthinks it and is like.
So are you afraid of flying?
I don't like flying, but if it gets me somewhere sick, I'm gonna do it.
Right. I don't like flying either, and I think a lot of people who love travel like enjoy flying. I don't like flying. Like flying for a 7-hour or more flight sucks.
Yeah, it's not always about the trip. It's for me about the destination.
The destination, obviously. Yeah. And getting off the plane, like it's a good feeling.
Oh, that like rush of just like actual air. Feels good.
Do remember the moment getting on the plane when I was moving to Denmark was literally a life-changing moment for me, where I was just like, I'm leaving everything behind. I'm moving to a new continent. I had never left North America before, and I was literally moving for 6 months. Knew absolutely no one, didn't know the language, didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And I feel like that step onto the airplane, like I remember it vividly, it went from like fear to total excitement. And I was just like, you know what? I'm leaving all of the fear behind. This is going to be the best experience of my life because I'm deciding that right now.
That's such a good mindset.
And it absolutely was.
Yeah, I love that. That was such a good trip for you. I remember, like, we didn't talk a whole ton because I was in school and you were just, like, living your actual best life. But yeah, anytime we would chat, you just, like, had this glow of just, like, you know, half, like, partly it was because you were very tanned. You had this, like, golden look to you.
So I was living my best life, and my parents kind of sent you to come get me and bring me home, I think.
Yeah,
so
totally.
We met in Barcelona. Carly was there for the end of my 6 months, and you helped me Oh, also, I only brought one suitcase with me.
Oh, yes.
So you were kind of helping me bring everything home because we could at least have like 2 suitcases.
Second suitcase, yeah. I basically came with an empty suitcase, didn't
Yeah,
I?
yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Even though I didn't, need it because I just packed in a carry-on.
So what memories do you have of that trip? We went to, so we did Barcelona, Venice,
Yep, we did Denmark.
Santorini, Athens,
Yes.
and Denmark.
Yeah. Yeah, which was really fun. We spent like 3 or 4 days in all those places, and it was just unreal.
Yeah.
What was your favorite spot that we visited together?
Oh my gosh, I love Venice, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, Santorini is gorgeous.
But it's, I know what you mean though. Santorini was more like beautiful. You want to just like stare at the like water and the views forever. But there's more to do in Venice. Venice has like a better environment, like the vibes were good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Denmark was my favorite, obviously, because I lived there and like that was my home.
Yeah.
And it's just still like my favorite city in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Aarhus, Denmark. Denmark's the country.
Shout out.
What about you?
I think, I don't know. That's so tough. I didn't like Barcelona a whole ton. It was the first one, so maybe it was just like every other one just kept getting better. I personally like warmer places.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe it was Greece. Like Santorini was just sick. Like the Black Sand Beach, that was unreal. We got an Airbnb right on basically this Black Sand Beach. It was like this cheap little 2-bed spot, and it had like a pool, which was awesome, super fun. And then we just had this Black Sand Beach, and it was so cute.
Yeah, Carly says cheap little Airbnb.
Okay. You have very low, like, so you're okay with sleeping on a bus.
I had just spent that 6 months. It was the first time that I hadn't worked in, like, probably like 8 years. Like, since I was 14.
Yeah.
So, and it was the last time that I didn't work. So it was 6 months of not working and living in Scandinavia, like one of the most expensive places in the world to live.
Yeah.
And I was traveling all over the place, so I was just spending money. But, so I ended up, like, taking a night bus, like a 14-hour night bus, and that is also free accommodation.
Oh my gosh.
Or like hostels, and then Carly's like, yeah, I'm down to do all that stuff, like this Airbnb, does this one look good? And I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna go very bougie on this.
Okay,
so
but you have to know that you at that point had already been to like every hostel. You'd already, slept on buses to save money, and I had only ever really traveled with my parents. So I was used to like hotels or
different
staying
expectations.
Yeah, exactly. And which I was fine with. I think you could admit I was very open to enjoying the experience and doing a more like inexpensive trip, which was, I think we did okay, other than the fact that we went to some very expensive countries.
Yeah, that's true. The cities that we were staying in weren't cheap, no matter what.
Yeah, Greece is not the cheapest. Denmark is definitely not the cheapest.
Yeah.
Even
and neither
Venice.
If you're staying in Venice and Santorini, like those are the most expensive cities in both those countries.
Yeah.
What were some of your like crazy travel stories from throughout your life? Would it be like during that Europe trip?
I don't think we had anything too crazy. I think no matter where you travel, you always just learn so much about other cultures, and you learn so much about other like communities and things like that. And I think something that really hit hard for both of us, or like at least me because it was one of my first times experiencing it, was in Athens. Just the severe level of poverty. Like, and it wasn't like going downtown Toronto where you see homeless people that, it's more like a mental illness thing. There was like physical limbs that were missing on these people in Athens, and there was people that like it was just different. Like, they didn't have eyes. They didn't have things that you're not used to just seeing every day. So I think that was, like, a very humbling experience where you're like, wow. Like, even though where we live, like, GTA area is, like, has poverty and has, like, homeless people, this is, like, another level.
Yeah.
So that was definitely very interesting to experience. And, yeah, just, like, a very sad experience as well.
Yeah, the only other place that I've seen poverty like that is around the Vatican, which is another kind of culture shock crazy thing, where the Vatican, which is like the Catholic Church essentially, is like this wealthy, there's statues, everything's made of gold, like so much money being poured into there, and then surrounding it is again like homeless people without limbs, like the poorest of the poor in the world. And yeah,
The distribution
it's really
of
sad.
wealth is just so clear in those areas.
Yeah.
Like the richest of the rich traveling, or the Pope, whatever, and then,
Yeah.
poor to the poor. I think another fun story, I don't know if it's really categorized as fun, but we stayed in a hostel, I think it was my first hostel ever, was in Barcelona.
Yeah.
And that was, like, you know, we flew there and then settled into this hostel for the first night, traveled for the day, kind of experienced a couple of the, like, local churches that were, like, stunning. And then we came home and we slept in, like, a shared room with these 3 other British girls, I believe. They were from Britain or England or somewhere, one of those places.
Britain or England, okay, yeah.
Is that the same place?
Yeah.
Shut up. Cut this out, cut this out.
He's off real
Wait,
strong.
why do they
The
call it
country of
different
Asia
things? Anyways, yeah, so these girls, they were sweet. They were definitely, like, party girls, like, had different reasons for being in Barcelona than us, which was totally fine. But yeah, we got home, like, decently late, and they got home at, like, 2 a.m., like, a lot later than us.
I think we got home when they were, like, getting ready to go out for the night.
Yeah.
So
It was also the first day we got there, so we were, like, getting off a plane. I was exhausted.
Oh, yeah.
You had also traveled a bit. Like, we
Yeah.
were just whipped. So that first night we didn't stay up late. And they got back super late, and all I remember was waking up and just hearing this one girl, like, throwing up in the bathroom all night long. And that was not good at all. That was one of those experiences you don't want, especially your first night in this shared room with strangers, because then you're supposed to, like, wake up and get ready in that same bathroom.
Yeah, and then go enjoy the day.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a fairly typical situation to happen in a hostel. Like, I've had that before in Amsterdam. I stayed in a shared hostel, and we, in the middle of the night, like, a very much middle-aged man just, like, came into our room and, like, literally crashed in all of his clothes. Smelled like a brewery.
Ew.
In another hostel in Amsterdam, we were, like, in the red light district, which, if you haven't been to Amsterdam, like, the windows that have, like, red lights in them, basically at night, women, like, stand in there and try to get men to come in. And so from our hostel window, we chose this hostel because it was cheapest. I, like, didn't really know what it meant to be living on that street. And same thing, like, a middle-aged man was in a bunk, like, above me or something, and had a view out, like, from his bed, from his bunk bed, he had a view out the window into these, like, red light district windows, when, like, could see the women, like, trying to get the men to come in. So, yeah, that was gross. I don't know what he was
So wait,
doing
you
there.
shared a room with a guy? Like, was it, like, an open...
Yes! Most hostel rooms are shared, like co-ed. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. We just stayed in an all-girls
I think
one,
the only time I've stayed in, like, a girl... Well, I did stay in an all-girls hostel shared room whenever I was solo traveling, I think. But, yeah, normally it's just, like, if you're traveling with friends, like, who cares?
Yeah, I was just curious. Another memory that I really like thinking about that was really fun was actually a very simple day when you brought us to that, like, deer farm. Where was that? Was that in Denmark?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like this 10-acre, like, kind of big park type thing.
Yeah.
Where you could either go and, like, picnic or go and just see, like, literally hundreds of deer. And
well,
I don't know
if you bring carrots to the park, you'll just be surrounded by deer. Like, they will find you, they will sniff you out, and they'll just eat carrots out of your hands.
And it wasn't just, like, they come and it's really cute. Like it's not like you're in Muskoka feeding the deer. Like, they will, like, jump on you and get that carrot.
They're, like, stealing your purse full of carrots.
Yeah. Like, I think we have a couple photos of both of us just being, like, terrified because there's these huge deer with, like, the horn things. Yeah. And that was scary.
Yeah. When our parents and brother came to visit me in our house, I told them, like, yeah, let's go for a walk. There's this park that's really pretty. And it was in winter then, too. And I didn't tell them about the deer. So we're, like, bundled up in this kind of big empty park, and they're like, okay, this is nice. I'm like, just wait, and I have carrots in my purse.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, 100 deer come over the hill, and they're like, what the?
Yeah, such a cool experience. Definitely if you're in Denmark, I don't know what that park is called, but check it out. It's just so cool.
Yeah,
it's called
Deer Park, but in Danish it's like Dare Parkin or something.
Yeah. It's near a lake too. It was really pretty. Yeah.
Probably the first trip that we took, just the two of us, was to Cuba.
Oh, yes.
For my, like, 20th birthday or something.
Was it 20?
I think so.
I guess that's
university.
like a while ago. That feels like it was like a year ago, but you're 25.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah, you are an old woman.
So our parents gifted us this trip as like a mutual birthday present.
Yeah.
And we had like less than 3 days there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was 2 nights and like less than 3 days.
Yeah, which was perfect. Like it was just a short, because we were in school. We were both in university.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like end of February. We live in Canada. It's been a long winter. We're pasty white. So we were just like, we have 2 days in Cuba going.
It's February, like, we're getting a tan.
We're getting a tan.
Yeah.
So we literally put on tanning oil and go out and lay by the pool for the whole first day.
Yeah.
And I have never been so burnt. I've never seen anyone as burnt as we both were after that. So our full second and third day, we just spent in the hotel room like, I can't move. Like, I can't move anything.
We were also in, like, the resort area. It was, like, one of those all-inclusive, really cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you just,
very
like,
cheap.
Free drinks, free food.
Yeah.
And you just enjoy. And, yeah, we definitely didn't get the full experience because we were just... It wasn't even, like, red burn. It was, like, purple. Like, we were, like... Is this a 3rd degree burn? Like, are we going to the hospital?
Yeah. I'll never forget whenever we were, like, first of all, on the plane on the way home, it was like, I can't put on the seatbelt. Like, it's going to hurt too much.
Oh, my gosh.
I can't wear clothes. Like, everything hurt.
Yeah. We were wearing dresses the way home because it touched the least.
Yeah. And then in the airport, someone that worked at the airport, who, like, the people that work at the airport have seen.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Every tourist.
And a man was, like, pushing his trolley and goes, oh my goodness, I have never seen. And we're just like, yeah, we know. Like, we were both so red. That
was definitely very embarrassing. But also, you only make that mistake once.
Yeah.
You only lay in the sun like that once.
In the 5 years since then, I've never worn tanning oil. Like,
the
sun will do its magic naturally.
Yeah, the wrinkles, like, there's no more preventing it. We have them. I think whenever you grow up and, you know, all the romance involved, I think Paris is one of those places that you always think is super magical and, like, very romantic, and you always dream of going there. And you and I went to Paris. That was one of the places that we went
there too.
And we kind of went into it being like, there's no way it's as amazing as people say. Like, it's just a city with, like, water you have to pay, like, $10 to buy.
Yeah. And, like, the Eiffel Tower, there's no way that it, like, it's not as big as a ton of buildings that we even have in Canada, so, like, there's no way that it's that impressive.
Yeah. But I remember, walked around, we were kind of walking through a park to get to the Eiffel Tower on, like, the second day we got there. And we walk around the corner and see it, and both of us just, like, stopped, and we're like, wait, like, Paris is literally magical.
Yeah, it was, like, this starstruck moment almost. I think the Eiffel Tower itself is something that you see, like, it's on every freaking notebook and keychain and poster and bedsheet. Like, the Eiffel Tower, it's, like, something that you use to decorate everything in your life.
Yeah.
And then you see it in person, and it's just, it's magical.
You just feel, like, warm and happy and in love. You were just, and I don't know, I think we definitely went in there with the expectation that it wouldn't be, so maybe it was just overcompensating because it was so beautiful. But yeah, that was incredible, and I think if you haven't been to Paris, it's worth going.
Yeah, I agree. And I lived in France for over a year, and so went to Paris multiple times. And, like, yes, it's a city. It's dirty. There's garbage. There's dog poo on every sidewalk. But there is something magical about it. I think in North America, we don't understand the beauty of an old city with all of that history, all of the architecture, the beauty, the lights. Like, there is something really beautiful and romantic about that.
Yeah. There's also something just amazing about Europe in general, where you can bring a bottle of wine and enjoy it in a park. That's things you just can't experience in Canada.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. Like, I think the one day we did that in Paris. We, like, went and sat at a park, had some wine, had some, like, fresh bread from this bakery. And that's just so cool. Like, I wish we could do that kind of stuff legally in Canada.
Yeah, that is the best. And like I said, living in Scandinavia was very expensive. So instead of going, like, I could probably count on one hand the number of restaurants that I went to in 6 months.
Wow.
And instead, whenever you get together with friends, it was just like a potluck in the park. Everybody brings snacks and drinks, and that was like a big part of the thing that I think made it one of the best years of my life, was just like, you don't need money, you don't need to be spending money, you don't need to have a whole bunch of things going on to have like this true happiness and hygge is what they call it, just like this peace and calm and coziness of being with a couple really close people that you're super comfortable with in just like a cozy environment, sitting in a park on a warm day with, you know, chips
Your
and
best
crackers
friends.
and dip. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with all that said, you did come home and you were like, all that I want is sushi. Like,
That's
you
true.
didn't eat out for those 6 months, and it was probably amazing.
Yeah.
But all you wanted was like, you know, Swiss LA and like Tim Hortons and like
That's
sushi,
true.
all the things that you just didn't have. Whether, obviously, you wouldn't change that looking back because those experiences were so incredible. But yeah,
And then
sushi is a must all the time.
And then whenever I was living in France, it wasn't expensive, the city that I was living in, at all, so we could go out to restaurants more, but I still craved, like, just certain Canadian foods, like, things that you wouldn't even think of, like Jell-O. Like, I hadn't had Jell-O in, like, 15 years, but then I go to France and realize that they don't have Jell-O, it doesn't exist. I, like, asked a couple people if they had Jell-O, and they're like, yeah.
Like gelatin?
Like, gummy bears? And I'm like, no, Jell-O!
You know the package, you like
They're
add hot water.
Yeah. So I learned how to make homemade Jell-O, which is like kind of disgusting, by the way. Like, Jell-O has weird stuff in it.
Yeah, I bet.
And then that's how I learned to cook. I was so craving these Canadian foods that they didn't have in France that I was like, okay, I guess I have to invent it from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, if you know Laura,
I could not
3
cook.
years ago, you know that her grocery list consisted of
Microwave
spinach,
food,
microwave food, and orange juice, and that was literally it.
Yeah.
Like, never really meats, never
No, I still don't cook with meat.
any
though.
protein, really, there was not.
No. Yeah.
It was just, like, some vegetables, and yeah, anything that could be easily microwaved, pastas.
Yeah.
But then you came back from France after your 1 year living with your boyfriend, and you had all these recipes, and we were all just like,
Yeah.
who is she? Like, what is this? Like, is this gonna taste good? And it did. So maybe some people who aren't good at cooking, you have to just travel for a year to gain that.
It's true. Like, it was fun realizing that, like, I can cook absolutely anything if I have a recipe. Like, you just have to follow a recipe. Cooking's very easy
Yeah.
if you just follow a recipe. But it was interesting, like, their measuring cups are in a different thing than, like, my American recipes. Like, it was weird doing it that way. Even, like, you set your oven to, like, 100, and it's like, what does that mean?
Oh my gosh.
So,
You're like converting every single aspect.
yeah, you're doing a lot of math when
Oh.
you're cooking abroad.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing that.
We also went to Vegas together with our dad.
Yeah, that was so fun. That was also for your birthday.
Yeah, wow, I've had some great birthdays.
You have. What the heck? I feel like maybe when quarantine's over, I need a good birthday trip.
Yeah, I realized that this birthday, like this year, my first quarantine birthday, was the first time I'd spent my birthday in Canada in like 5 or 6 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but like, that's the way I like it.
Yeah, but Vegas was cool. We went to Vegas for like a few days, stayed in a couple hotels because we wanted to experience different ones.
We stayed in
because-
Caesars,
Yeah.
MGM, and then we
Yeah.
also did a helicopter tour over top of the Vegas Strip. Like, that was so amazing.
That was very
That
cool.
was so cool.
I think we got it off Groupon because no one's trying to pay full price, which,
Yeah.
again, would recommend. Like, Groupon is great, and if you can save $1, do it, especially in Vegas.
Thank you to Groupon for sponsoring.
Can you imagine
Just
the first
kidding.
sponsor?
Oh my god.
Let's talk about sponsors for a minute. We're not getting any, so Home Depot, HelloFresh. But yeah, the helicopter ride was really cool. You got to sit in the front because it was your birthday, and that was when we learned we're both the
Oh my
identical
gosh.
weight.
I remember, yeah, so I guess the lightest person needs to sit in the front with, like, the helicopter driver,
Man,
the
yeah.
pilot.
Oh my gosh.
So they weighed us all beforehand, and Carly and I, like, I mean, I don't think we really care, but we're, like, 15 months apart, we're, like, pretty much the exact same body type, could share clothes,
Yeah,
shoes,
same
everything.
height, identical, yeah.
And we're kind of like, who's gonna weigh more? Like, this is so weird. And then the pilot, like, he's a smart man.
Yeah.
He's like, so you guys weigh, like, virtually the same, so whoever wants to sit in the front. And I'm like, okay, it's my birthday, I'll sit there. But that was
We were
good.
both just like, what is it gonna be?
Yeah.
Which is such like a petty, stupid, stressful thing. But
Post-COVID, I mean, who
we're
knows?
the same way.
Tables have turned. Yeah, maybe we've both just...
Yeah. We've both been eating a lot of TikTok feta pasta.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think whenever I travel, like, experiences like a helicopter ride that you can get a good deal on Groupon, like, that is so worth the money, more than, like, going to a super fancy buffet restaurant or, like, first class tickets on the plane. Like, no, I will never.
Well, I don't think we flew at all between our couple countries in Europe without flying on, like, what is it called? Swoop? Like,
no,
the
the
really
Swoop
cheap,
is the Canadian one, but Ryanair.
What is it called? Ryanair.
Yeah.
Like, the really, really cheap, literally, like, $30 for a ticket from, like, country to country. That was unreal.
My cheapest flight was $12 from Denmark to London.
Like, no wonder she went to, what was it, like 20 countries.
I know, that's the thing. Like, I tell people I lived in Denmark for 6 months and traveled to 22 countries during that time or whatever it was.
Yeah, and didn't work.
It sounds like I spent so much money, but, like, no, my flights were, like, $12 and I slept on buses and I stayed in hostels and, like...
Yes. But, yeah, kind of going back to the Vegas story, we also, like, we did Vegas and we did that helicopter tour, and then we wanted to explore more of that area, like the more rural areas around that. So we went over into Arizona, and we saw those, like, incredible, like, caves.
Yeah,
what were those called?
Antelope Canyon.
And then the other one was really cool, like that horseshoe.
Oh, yeah.
Horseshoe Bend or something, which was seriously some of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced. Like, I saw that and I was like, if you don't believe in God, like, this is just proof of that. Like, this is proof that God exists, because this is incredible.
And the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, that was also cool.
The Grand Canyon is it's like an Eiffel Tower moment, where you see it for the first time in person. You've seen it a million times on your TV or your computer, and it's like, oh my goodness, like, a picture cannot.
Yeah. And how does that happen? Like, it just goes on for, it was a pretty clear day, and we're just like, it literally feels like this is the entire world.
Actually, we were there when there was snow. And I don't think it snows there very often, because they, like, didn't know what to do. Like, all the roads were closed and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was pretty cool. I don't think a lot of people can say that.
Yeah, that was very beautiful. I definitely recommend, if you're going to Vegas, rent a car and just drive through those couple other states.
It's a long drive. It's not, like, an easy thing. But, yeah, no, it was worth it for sure.
Worth it.
What countries or cities do you have on your bucket list? Well, first of all, like, obviously travel is a very important part of my life, and like something that I still plan on doing a lot of, even when I have, everybody's like, oh, I don't want to have kids because I want to travel. Like, no, I want to travel with my kids too. So I can just see myself traveling for the rest of my life until I, like, can't walk anymore, and then somebody can, like, push me around to the sites. But is travel, like, I know that you're much more of a homebody than I am.
Yeah.
But do you still see yourself doing a lot of traveling in your life?
After
this panty situation.
Oh my gosh, panty, ew, I hated that. Yeah, I definitely am a homebody. I definitely, for me, traveling is like 1 or 2 weeks, maybe a month if it's like traveling multiple places and I'm able to get like time off work. But I definitely have bucket list places that I want to see before I die. One of them being Thailand, because
oh my gosh, so
it's
high on my
just
list.
Stunning, and like the food. Definitely Japan, because like the food period. I don't even know what else is there, but I'm going for the food.
Yeah,
like, I will.
Beautiful.
Like Fiji, like those tiki huts. I think everyone has those on their bucket list.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a few places in Asia I'd really love to experience. Also because of the culture. Like, I've never been to Asia at all.
Yeah, me neither.
And I would just love to experience that in general. I think I'd also love to go to like either Australia or New Zealand. We've been to Hawaii, which is like a 12-hour flight. So the extra 12 to get there from where we live, like, isn't it like literally 24 hours?
I don't know. It depends where you fly from, but I don't know. I have so many good friends in Australia that I'm like dying to go. Especially right now, like, there's no COVID in Australia. I FaceTimed my friend in Australia the other day, and she's like giving us a tour of her city, like, not wearing a mask. Like, they're living.
Cannot relate, and I wish. Also, like, they have kangaroos and koalas, and I think koalas
Kangaroos
are pretty nice.
are dangerous. People don't like kangaroos there.
I know, but I think it would just be cool. Like, we see squirrels, they see kangaroos, just, like, running around.
That's fair. Yeah, it would be really cool.
I don't think that's fake, right? Like, they literally have so many kangaroos, they, like, want them to die. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if this is real. Maybe it's, like, from a movie, or maybe this is just actually spitting out lies. But don't, like, the truckers in certain areas have, like, spikes on their truck so that they can, like, hit kangaroos on purpose?
No, it's not on purpose. It's the same thing that we would have for deer or moose. Like, if you're driving in really rural areas up north.
Oh, it won't, like, dent the car.
Yeah, it's for your own protection. And
I
like,
swear it was to, like, limit the population of
no,
kangaroos.
they don't go around trying to run over kangaroos. Like, there might be hunters.
Oh.
Like we would have
Kangaroo
for deer.
meat.
I think you could probably easily compare, like, deer to kangaroo.
I think kangaroo is very lean meat.
Oh, not in the meat, more in, like, the how much they want to get rid of them.
Oh. They want to get rid of deer?
Wait, here?
Should
Like,
we make a
people
deer
hunt
sanctuary?
Deer.
Well, yeah, they hunt them, but they're not like, let's get rid of deer. Like, I swear Australia has, like, a pandemic about kangaroos.
I'm surprised there's even that many hunters in Australia because they have really good gun laws. So anyways, let's talk about America.
Let's talk about gun laws. Okay, let's get back to travel.
Yeah, I think my bucket list
Oh yeah,
is...
Laura, what's your bucket list? I know you have a longer list than me because you want to travel every second of your life. You hate being in one place for more than, like, 4 months.
Yeah, I want to see the world. Like, I've only done Europe. I've done Europe pretty well.
Yes.
And I'd like to see every country in Europe, so there's, like, a couple more that I need to do.
Like 2 more.
And I had flights, like, ready to go, and then the
No.
freaking panorama. So those plans changed, but I think those will probably be the first places I go to like, check off Europe.
Europe.
Or
Then
maybe
you can
I
say
should
you
go
traveled
to
an
Australia.
entire continent.
Yeah, that'd be cool, right?
That'd be so cool.
But I also would like to say that I've gone to all of the continents, so
Right.
I don't know, my bucket list, we don't even need to get into
that's
it.
long. Aren't there, like, a lot of countries? Like, over, like, 200?
Yeah, but my goal in
How
my
many
life
continents
is to
or
see
countries
100
are there?
countries.
I think Brazil sounds fun.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The other thing is, like, I have this issue of having a travel map that you scratch out the countries. So I'm like, I need to go to Russia.
Right.
And then, like, Brazil. Like, I need to go to the big countries.
Yeah.
And, like, scratch off my map. Yeah. Greenland.
Antarctica?
Yeah, Antarctica.
We have a cousin that's literally been, hasn't she been to every continent?
She has, yeah.
That is unreal. Like, that's
Yeah.
a cool thing to be able to say. You've been to every single one, especially Antarctica.
Yeah.
Like, nobody goes there. Didn't she, like, jump in the water, too?
Yeah, you have to get training before you go to Antarctica, she was telling me.
So I think another thing that was kind of a surprise when we saw it was the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
We went there with huge expectations
Yeah.
that it was going to be, like, the most incredible art we've ever seen. And then we get there and we're like, oh, it's, first of all, really, really small. And there was, like, a ton of people surrounding it.
Yeah.
And then
And it's tiny. It's like life size.
And to
Like
get
a
there, we were
person's
kind
head.
of, and to get there, we were running past all these, like, gorgeous pieces that personally I thought were, like, more incredible. I would rather look at those for 10 minutes than the Mona Lisa. And then we get there and we're just like, wait, what? Like, is that all? is that it? Which I still totally give credit. Like, that's an amazing piece of history.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I personally think there's,
like, the Sistine Chapel, like the ceiling that's hand painted.
Yeah.
And the David in Florence, like, those pieces of art, I would say were more, like, awestruck moments than the Mona Lisa for me. But the museum as a whole that the Mona Lisa's in Paris, like,
definitely go see it.
Apparently this is my first roller coaster.
Apparently the podcast is getting off topic.
What was I saying? Oh, apparently at the Louvre you can, like, go for free on Saturdays if you're a student or something.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
How long ago was this
I think we
happening?
spent $40 each for a ticket.
No regrets. That was incredible.
Yeah.
We walked through the whole thing. We saw everything from, you know, sculptures to friggin' what are those things that they have in
Mummies?
Egypt?
Mummies?
No, the big one. The big mountains. What are those called?
Pyramids?
The pyramids. They had, like, it was just amazing.
They had pyramids in the
I swear they had like
There is a
old
pyramid,
built-
like the glass pyramid
Yeah,
ceiling.
that's like up tall,
No.
like above it.
I guess it was maybe just that era of like
Yeah.
dirt piles of.
Oh, the dirt era?
No, it was just okay.
There was mummies. I know what you're talking about. I don't think there was pyramids in there. Like,
But
you
there was
can't
like
just
buildings that were like that era that were just incredible. Where you're like,
move. Okay.
this is so cool. Like imagine being here at this time.
Yeah. So I guess we can end off with like my craziest story.
Yes.
I did just upload the full story to my YouTube channel, like my scariest travel story. But I'll give like a little overview, I guess, just for the pod.
Special feature for just you guys. Listen up.
So, 3 friends and I, an American, 2 Canadians, and a Dutch friend, were traveling around Italy. We did like 4 different cities in Italy, and our last city was Florence. We stayed in an Airbnb, and we stayed the first night. It was fine, and then we went out like traveling for the whole day. Got back to the apartment door was open. So we were very freaked out, searched the whole apartment, like none of our stuff had been taken, there was nobody there. Long story short, we find a webcam that had been taped to our TV. I keep saying webcam, I said webcam in the video the whole time, but like a camera, like a little portable camera. Taped to the TV with like masking tape, brown tape, you could clearly see it. And we all look into it and are kind of like, is that a camera? And then all of a sudden the electricity in the apartment like flickers as if somebody is live watching us react to this and is trying to scare us by like cutting our electricity.
And at the time, it was Easter. So my family was like sitting down to Easter dinner, and you texted my dad and were basically telling him like,
I shared my location with him. We like got off the Wi-Fi of the apartment so that we couldn't be tracked. And I was like, I'm sharing my location with you. I don't know what's going on, but I think somebody's like watching us through a live webcam, and I don't know if they're going to try to whatever they were going to try to do. So we got out of there and ended up safe, and we never figured out like what that situation was. Whether somebody had broken into the apartment and like set up cameras, because we had seen other people in the apartment building throughout the time that we were there, where like I think we looked like tourists, right? And it would be pretty easy to know like, oh, this neighbor has an Airbnb, they must be staying there. Like if somebody wanted to like capture us and sell us into the Italian sex trade, for example, I think they could have done that by like breaking in and like setting up a live camera or whatever.
or like easier than what happened to
Or,
you.
oh no, like I think, well, I don't know. All I'm saying is like it could have been somebody that broke in, or it could have been the host.
Right.
And whenever we messaged the host to like ask them about it, like the next day whenever we were away and safe, we were like, hey, we found a webcam in the apartment and the door was unlocked, like not blaming you for anything, just really weird, and like we left in a hurry, so like if we left any mess, we're sorry. And the response was like, how dare you have left? You shouldn't have left. You had a second night. Like, you're not going to be getting your money back for that second night. And, like, we never asked for our money back. We were just, like, we were afraid and needed to get out of there.
Yeah.
And she was, like, in all caps, like, yelling at us that we shouldn't have left. And, like, how dare you leave?
That's suspicious.
Yeah, it is suspicious, isn't it?
That's I think she's definitely underplaying this story. You have to listen to her YouTube video in its entirety whenever it comes out.
There was just so many other, like, freaky details.
Yeah, where it's just, like, this isn't, like, this, there's too many things tying together where this isn't just a coincidence.
Yeah. It was very weird. It was very weird. It was like someone had, you know, you see stories on the news of like a hidden camera in a hotel. Like, this wasn't a hidden camera. This was very obviously set up in the middle of our black TV screen with brown tape so that we would see it and be scared. And
that's even scarier.
I think what was a really powerful kind of moment for me in my life was the way that me and these 3 girls were in a terrifying situation and just rallied together and were like, we gotta get out of here, this is what we're gonna do. Like, we were smart. We, between finding the webcam, deciding what we needed to do, packing up all of our stuff, and leaving the apartment and, like, getting on the closest public transport, it was, like, 2 minutes.
That's
we
crazy.
just, like, figured, this is what we need to do. We need to get the heck out of here. Like, we're in danger.
Yeah.
and nobody freaked out, nobody was crying.
You were just
we were just
rational.
like, let's get out of here, let's do this. The four of us like got out, and it was the scariest thing that ever happened to any of us, but it turned out to be absolutely nothing, you know? Like, we could also look at it and be like, yeah, we just ended up at a hotel instead of that Airbnb that night. Like, nothing happened. Which, like, nothing did happen. If you look at it that way.
Yeah. And she lived to see the next day.
And tell you all about it.
Yes. You heard it here. Well, I had a ton of fun kind of reminiscing on all of our fun travel stories. I feel like I have a lot of more traveling to do in my life. You probably...
I do too, girl.
Absolutely will. But if you and me were to ever compare our travel stories, like, yours are always going to be more epic because you've seen, like, 80% more places than me.
I do forget things, though, so it's good to have these talks. Like, I forget so many of the moments, like, the first time seeing the Eiffel Tower, like, moments like that.
Yeah.
And the Deer Park, yeah, it's good to travel with other people and, like, be reminded of those fun moments.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening. It was really great to be able to just chat
with ya.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you next Thursday, and in the meantime, if you have something to say,
say it, sister.
Bye.
Also, you guys, if you love the pod, or if you don't love the pod, go on to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. Thanks.
Thank you.
I wonder if cheaps are flight to North Korea.
Cheaps or flight?
Flights are cheap.